From heartbreak to breakthrough, rewriting your story after divorce. Welcome to the BlackCEO Podcast, where we dive deep into the stories that shape our lives and challenge our perspectives. Today, we're exploring a topic that touches millions of lives, yet often remains shrouded in silence and shame. I had the incredible privilege of interviewing Ladonna Tardy, a true beacon of strength and wisdom in the realm of post-divorce healing and personal growth. Her insights aren't just valuable, they're transformative. Ladonna's work has touched countless lives, helping people turn their darkest moments into springboards for unprecedented success and fulfillment. So, buckle up, folks. We're about to embark on a journey that might just change everything you thought you knew about divorce, healing, and the extraordinary power of self-discovery. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Oh, great, another talk about divorce. Haven't we heard it all before? But trust me, what Ladonna shared is far from the usual narrative. This isn't about blame, it's not about regret, and it's certainly not about dwelling in the past. No, this is about something far more powerful and, dare I say, exciting. Let's start with the provocative question. What if your divorce wasn't the end of your story, but the beginning of your greatest chapter yet? What if, instead of viewing it as a failure, you saw it as the catalyst for unprecedented personal growth and success? I can almost hear the skeptics among you. Easy for you to say, you might be thinking. You don't know what I've been through. And you're right, I don't. But Ladonna does. She's been there in the trenches, facing the same doubts, fears, and overwhelming sense of loss that so many divorcees experience. And yet, she emerged not just intact, but stronger, wiser, and more successful than ever before. So how did she do it? What's the secret sauce that turned her divorce from a potential tragedy into a springboard for success? Well, it all comes down to one fundamental principle: healing. But not just any kind of healing. We're talking about a deep dive, transformative healing that goes beyond simply getting over your ex or learning to live alone. We're talking about a healing process that rebuilds your very foundation, reshaping your identity and setting the stage for unprecedented growth. Now, I know what you're thinking. Healing, really? That's the big secret? But hear me out. The kind of healing Ladonna talks about isn't some new age, wishy-washy concept. It's a concrete, actionable process that yields tangible results. It's about facing your fears head on, confronting your insecurities, and emerging with a level of self-awareness and confidence that you never thought possible. Let's break it down, shall we? According to Ladonna, the first step in this healing journey is acknowledging the pain. Sounds simple, right? But how many of us actually do this? How many of us try to bury our hurt, to push it down and pretend it doesn't exist? We put on a brave face for the world, telling everyone and ourselves that we're fine, when inside, we're anything but. Ladonna argues that this denial, this refusal to face our pain head on, it's what keeps us stuck. It's like trying to build a house on quicksand. No matter how beautiful the structure, it's going to sink if the foundation isn't solid. And that's exactly what happens when we try to move forward without properly healing. We might achieve some success. We might even fool ourselves for a while. But eventually those unresolved issues will catch up with us. So what does it look like to truly acknowledge your pain? It means giving yourself permission to grieve, to cry, to rage, to feel all those messy, uncomfortable emotions that come with the end of a marriage. It means being honest with yourself about what you've lost, what you're afraid of, and what you're struggling with. But here's the kicker. Acknowledging your pain isn't about wallowing in it. It's not about becoming a victim or letting your divorce define you. It's about creating space for healing. It's about saying, yes, this hurts. Yes, this is hard, but I'm strong enough to face it. Ladonna shared a powerful story about one of her clients. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah came to Ladonna 6 months after her divorce, convinced she was over it. She had a new job, a new apartment, even a new haircut. On the surface, she was the picture of a woman who had moved on. But as they started working together, it became clear that Sarah was running from her pain, not facing it. It wasn't until Sarah allowed herself to truly feel the grief of her lost marriage that she began to heal. And you know what? That process wasn't pretty. There were days when Sarah couldn't get out of bed, days when she questioned every decision she had ever made. But by facing those feelings head on, by allowing herself to be vulnerable, Sarah started to rebuild her sense of self. And that's when the real transformation began. This brings us to the second key principle in Ladonna's approach, self-compassion. Now, I can almost hear some of you groaning. Self-compassion, isn't that just a fancy way of saying feel sorry for yourself? Not at all. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Self-compassion, as Ladonna defines it, is about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a good friend. It's about recognizing that you're human, that you're allowed to make mistakes, and that your worth isn't determined by your relationship status. Think about it. How often do we beat ourselves up after a divorce? We replay every argument, every mistake, every what-if scenario. We blame ourselves for not being good enough, for not trying hard enough, for not seeing the signs earlier. And while self-reflection is important, this kind of relentless self-criticism is toxic. It keeps us stuck in the past, preventing us from moving forward. Self-compassion, on the other hand, allows us to learn from our experiences without being defined by them. It gives us the courage to look at ourselves honestly, to acknowledge our flaws and mistakes, but also to recognize our strengths and our capacity for growth. Ladonna shared a powerful exercise she uses with her clients. She asked them to write a letter to themselves, but from the perspective of a loving, supportive friend. What would that friend say about your divorce? How would they comfort you? What strengths would they remind you of? Let me tell you about another client of Ladonna's. We'll call him Mark. Mark was a successful businessman who prided himself on his ability to solve problems and overcome obstacles. But when his 20-year marriage ended, he felt like a complete failure. He couldn't stop berating himself for not being able to fix his relationship. Ladonna asked Mark to write that letter to himself. At first, he resisted. It felt silly, he said. But when he finally sat down to do it, something remarkable happened. As he wrote from the perspective of a friend, Mark realized how harsh and unforgiving he'd been with himself. He saw, perhaps for the first time, his own strength and resilience. He acknowledged the courage it took to end a marriage that wasn't working, to choose happiness over comfort. That exercise was a turning point for Mark. It didn't magically solve all his problems, but it shifted his perspective. He started treating himself with more kindness, more understanding, and from that place of self-compassion, he was able to start rebuilding his life in a way that felt authentic and fulfilling. But self-compassion isn't just about feeling better. It's about creating an internal environment that's conducive to growth. When we're constantly berating ourselves, we're operating from a place of fear and insecurity. We're less likely to take risks, to put ourselves out there, to pursue our dreams. But when we treat ourselves with kindness and understanding, we create a sense of safety. We feel more confident, more resilient, more capable of handling whatever life throws our way. And that brings us to the third pillar of Ladonna's approach, redefining success. This is where things get really exciting, because once you've acknowledged your pain and cultivated self-compassion, you're in a position to completely reimagine what success looks like for you. For so many of us, our ideas of success are tied up with our relationships. We measure ourselves by whether we're married, by how our family looks, by how well we fit into society's expectations. And when a divorce shatters that picture, it can feel like we failed at life itself. But what if, instead of seeing divorce as a failure, we saw it as an opportunity to redefine success on our own terms, to figure out what truly matters to us, what we really want out of life, without the constraints of someone else's expectations. Ladonna encourages her clients to dream big during this phase, to ask themselves, if anything were possible, what would I want my life to look like? It's not about being unrealistic or ignoring practical considerations. It's about giving yourself permission to want more, to expect more, to be more. Let me share another story with you. This one's about a woman we'll call Emily. Emily had always dreamed of starting her own business, but during her marriage, she put that dream on hold. Her husband's career took precedence, and she convinced herself that her role was to support him, to be a good wife and mother. When her marriage ended, Emily was devastated. But as she worked through her grief and started to rebuild her self-esteem, she realized something profound. She had been living someone else's version of success. With Ladonna's guidance, Emily started to explore what success really meant to her. It wasn't easy. Emily had to confront her fears, her self-doubt, and years of conditioning that told her she wasn't capable of running a business. But step by step, she started to build her dream. She took classes, networked, developed a business plan. And you know what? 2 years after her divorce, Emily launched her own successful marketing consultancy. Was it easy? No. Were there moments of doubt and fear? Absolutely. But because she had done the work of healing, because she had built that foundation of self-compassion and confidence, she was able to persevere. Today, Emily's business is thriving. And more importantly, she's living a life that truly aligns with her values and aspirations. Now, I want to be clear, this journey isn't a straight line. It's not about waking up one day and suddenly having everything figured out. It's a process, often a challenging one. There will be setbacks, there will be days when you question everything, but that's okay. That's part of the journey. The key, according to Ladonna, is to keep moving forward, to treat each setback as a learning opportunity, to remember that healing isn't a destination, it's an ongoing practice. It's about consistently choosing yourself, your growth, your dreams, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Let's talk about another client of Ladonna's. We'll call him David. David's divorce left him feeling like he had lost everything: his partner, his home, even his identity. He came to Ladonna feeling hopeless, convinced that his best years were behind him. But as David worked through Ladonna's healing process, something remarkable happened. He started to rediscover parts of himself that he had forgotten or suppressed during his marriage. He picked up his guitar again, something he hadn't done in years. He started volunteering at a local animal shelter, rekindling his passion for animal welfare. These might seem like small things, but for David, they were transformative. They reminded him that he was more than just someone's husband, more than his divorce. He was a musician, an animal lover, a compassionate human being with unique gifts to offer the world. As David continued to heal and grow, he started to see possibilities where before he had only seen closed doors. He decided to combine his love for music and animals, organizing benefit concerts for the shelter. This not only gave him a sense of purpose, but also connected him with a community of like minded individuals. Today, David will tell you that his life post divorce is richer, more authentic, and more fulfilling than he ever imagined possible. Not because the divorce was easy, but because he used it as a catalyst for growth and self discovery. So, where does this leave us? What's the big takeaway from all of this? Well, it's simple yet profound. Your divorce does not define you. It's an event in your life. Yes, a significant one, but it's not the end of your story. It's not even the most important part of your story. The most important part is what you do next, how you choose to heal, how you choose to grow, how you choose to redefine success on your own terms. Ladonna's message is clear. Post-divorce healing isn't just about getting back to where you were before. It's about becoming a version of yourself you never even knew was possible. It's about using this challenging experience as a catalyst for growth, for self-discovery, for creating a life that truly excites and fulfills you. Now, I want to leave you with a challenge. Whether you're going through a divorce right now, have experienced one in the past, or are simply facing a major life transition, I want you to ask yourself, what would be possible if I committed to my own healing? If I treated myself with compassion, if I allowed myself to dream big and redefine success on my own terms? Imagine the person you could become. Imagine the life you could create. Imagine the impact you could have on the world around you. That's the power of healing. That's the gift that's waiting for you on the other side of this challenge. But here's the thing. This isn't just about you. Your healing, your growth, your transformation, it has the power to ripple out and affect everyone around you. Think about it. When you become more confident, more authentic, more fulfilled, how does that change your interactions with others? How does it impact your children if you have them, your friends, your colleagues? By choosing to heal, by refusing to let your divorce define you, you're not just changing your own life. You're contributing to a larger shift in how our society views divorce and personal growth. You're showing others that it's possible to emerge from heartbreak stronger and more vibrant than ever before. So here's my call to action for you. Take one step today towards your healing. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's writing that letter to yourself that we talked about. Maybe it's reaching out to a therapist or a support group. Maybe it's simply allowing yourself to feel whatever you're feeling without judgment. Whatever it is, do it with the knowledge that you're not just healing yourself. You're part of a larger movement, a ripple effect of growth and transformation that has the power to change lives, to change communities, to change the world. Remember, your best chapter isn't behind you. It's waiting to be written. So pick up that pen and start writing. Your incredible future is calling, and not just yours, but the future of everyone whose life you touch. Will you answer that call? Will you commit to your healing, not just for yourself, but for the positive impact it can have on the world around you? The choice is yours. And if Ladonna's wisdom and experience have shown us anything, it's that when you choose healing, when you choose growth, when you choose to believe in yourself and your dreams, extraordinary things are possible. So as we wrap up this episode of the Black CEO podcast, I want you to remember this. Your divorce is not your destiny. It's not your defining moment. It's simply a chapter in your story. And the most exciting chapters, they're the ones you haven't written yet. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and transformation. Now go out there and write your next chapter. Make it a bestseller. The world is waiting for your story of triumph, resilience, and unbreakable spirit. Let's show them what's possible when we choose healing, growth, and unwavering self-belief. Until next time, this is the Black CEO Podcast, reminding you that your greatest comeback is just beginning. The stage is yours. It's time to shine. To